You are never going to find a better opportunity in any other asset class. And I know this was early days, but these 70% crashes happened in the middle of a bull market before continuing on to push up another almost 1800%. What's going on, guys? Kevin Cage here with another cryptocurrency update. I hope everybody's doing well despite the market volatility. In today's video, we're going to be diving into over 10 years of price history, observing the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves. And remember, this is not meant to reassure you and say everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows. I simply want to show you one of the ways I'm looking at this market. When in doubt, zoom out. Remember, guys, there is no right way, there is just your way. And I'm showing you my way. Your way is going to be different, and I encourage you to always keep doing your own research and follow a variety of people with different opinions so that you can form your own. So I hope you enjoy this one, and let's kick it off. Okay guys, let's kick it off. So for anybody curious, we are on the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin, seeing over 10 years of price history for this asset. When in doubt, zoom out. We're going to come up to FX indicators, and as we click here, we can type in Bitcoin, and we can type in log and look at different models. Some are regression models, some are the logarithmic growth curves. I picked this one. Now, we're going to actually go over to our indicators, turn the lights on, and I want to make a few basic observations on what I'm seeing within this market. In previous videos, I know everybody has shown from the first impulses, the first Bitcoin cycle, then we had the first halving. Each Bitcoin cycle or bullish cycle gets longer than the previous. This one was longer than this one. And now this one is probably going to go well into 2022, like it or not. So my bias still remains the same, that alts are going to have amazing upside in the next 3 to 6 months. So I am paying very, very close attention to this market. And here's the Casper price chart. If Bitcoin does another sweep of the lows, pulling these alts down yet again, comparing it to TEL, comparing the fib retracements, I'm going to do, how do we say this professionally, go all in on Casper. And that's my personal choice, not financial advice. So if we do come below the 702 or the 786, I'm going to be trying to enter as heavy as possible and try to get a nice ride. Similar to a lot of assets like TEL, and I'll be diving into this a little bit more in this video. Because as you guys know, Casper, it's not up thousands of percent from its all-time low. Very fundamentally strong layer 1 project with upgradable smart contracts, predictable gas fees, and also known as the final version of Ethereum or Ethereum 3.0 from the original 2014 Ethereum CBC specification. So this has been in the works for a very long time, and I think everybody's going to know what this project is in the years ahead. So, up 137% from its all-time low. What is my basic macro investing thesis? I shared it last week in a video, really continuing to DCA while the price is in accumulation in my buy zone. And it is. So I'm going to actually try to be more aggressive and hope it falls just a tad below to these lower levels. And like most people, as the asset goes below my entry price, I will actually continue to DCA there. So looking at Casper, up 130% from its all-time low, relatively newly launched asset this year. Although it's been in development for years. Comparing it to other assets that are amazing, I think Telcoin does in fact have plenty of upside, but I just wanted to give you an example. This asset up 16, almost 17,000% from its all-time low. Now, yes, I know market cap, I know circulating supply, I know all of that is different. And I think this is a very sound asset with already full regulatory clarity out of Singapore and the Monetary Authority of Singapore, their central bank. I'm not betting against this. What I'm saying is I'm looking at this asset when it was in accumulation and exploded. I'm looking at, let's say, assets like Cadena, KDA, in accumulation before they exploded. I'm not going to be missing Casper in accumulation. When you have its recorded all-time high price around $1.33, just like Cardano's back in the day, and you have beautiful wicks, a liquidity wicks at $30, $60 on some charts, comparing it to dozens of assets, as I've shown even HBAR back in the day, the same wick, distribution, we have accumulation, and boom. And what do we see? Very similar moves. This is HNT. And funny enough, how high has it reached? Well, it reached to its full 34 Fibonacci extension. Insane. As I share, I'm buying around the 236, if not below. And when it breaks out and goes into expansion, I am happy. Whether it's a 3x, a 7x, or even maybe a 20x or higher, the hardest part is any great asset you do have to hold to realize these unbelievable gains. So just keep an eye out. Biggest point is this whole structure with the wick. I know it's illiquidity, overall just really new on the exchange, but just wanted to point out the same type of pattern over and over again. This is copying what Ethereum did back in the day, what Bitcoin did back in the day. And these fractals, just like they say, one contains the whole. And if you look at it with a creative mindset and then also apply additional principles or fundamental analysis and additional TA, you're going to find a lot of interesting confluences. So I don't have a crystal ball, but I do bet on the long-term success of assets right here, like Casper, that I'm also familiar with its fundamentals. Imagine getting into HNT when it was $1, $2, and today it's 26 bucks, 27 bucks, went as high as almost $60. Typical went right up to the 4.236, and then it came back down to backtest the 1618. So I would say in the next 3 to 6 months, not to give a price prediction, but I do wholeheartedly believe in the potential for Casper to go to 30, if not 70 cents, and then a few dollars in the future. Too many people are looking for 1000x returns, trying to get rich too quickly, rather than just trying to compound 3x returns here and there. Anybody that just got into this market, maybe within the last 6 months, or, got in the top of this market around April, May, they're still expecting overnight success. And while that may be possible, and maybe it does happen to you faster than others, I'd much rather bet on the long-term success of assets that are building and have live adoption and utility today. All right, enough of Casper though. 130, less than 200% up from its all-time low. While there's other assets that, yes, maybe they do have exponential upside from here as well as they gain adoption, still want to swing the bat at assets that are down in accumulation before reaching these higher prices. Just buying, Cadena down here, which I did miss out on this one. I was watching people talk about it. I looked into it, but completely missed the sucker and just watched it pump. 30 cents all the way up to as high as $10. Unbelievable returns. 20x, 30x, 50x. Yes, it's possible, but it is getting harder to catch and actually hold these assets when nobody believes in it. You want to buy before the masses are even discussing it, and by the time everybody's talking about it, you're typically too late. For the highest potential ROI, at least. I know everybody knows this gentleman, Benjamin Cohen, very smart guy, showing the logarithmic regression. Highly recommend watching this video. We have this green curve on the Bitcoin price chart showing the fair value, and typically the fair value actually coincides with the Bitcoin halving. So you can see right around these levels during the bear market, it will usually come around this level, okay? Very interesting. And yes, this model still shows that Bitcoin does in fact surpass $100,000 in the coming years. So very curious to see how this actually will look in the future. Okay, now to show you the good stuff, and I'll try to keep this video short, but I do want you to pay very close attention here. Notice the tops of each of these bullish cycles on this logarithmic growth trend. So as we can see, there is a top here. Next up, there is another top here. Now remember, during this whole cycle from 2012 all the way up until 2013, there was really 2 different legs up for this bull run. Okay? I want you to remember that because we're going to look back at that. During the next bullish cycle, the top of the end of 2017, top of 2018 bull run, Bitcoin made it up to that level. And we have yet to make it up to that level on the log growth scale. And as we know, this bullish cycle does look like it's going to last well into 2022. A lot of us, even months ago, were hoping for a big blow off the top at the end of December. Let's be realistic. I don't think that's going to be happening now with, 2 or 3 weeks left of the month. But I do want to keep an eye on these levels for the top of this overall channel. And what do we see? It shows Bitcoin could even top out per this model, not financial advice, at 140K. Either way, I don't think Bitcoin's quite done. Can we go for another sweep of the lows? Absolutely. I'm just saying for this overall cycle that could go even towards the end of 2022, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, I also want you to observe, the bottom of these levels. So it's holding that pretty nicely during each bear market, of course. You can see holding this bottom pretty well. And then even during the 2020 COVID crash, we can see that it wicked below but came right back up to this trend or this channel. Now, I'm going to show you what I personally believe, right or wrong. This is where I stand. I believe that Bitcoin and the total cryptocurrency market is actually about to get that second leg up in this bullish cycle. As we recall, the very end of 2012, running all the way up, a nice mega bullish cycle, came back down, formed another cup, and went again for that next leg. Looking at the top of that first leg, what do we see? We're going to follow this line and go all the way over and see where it's at. Where is it? Interesting. That's actually that same level where Bitcoin actually topped out previously. And then what happened? It retraced to this lower zone. So we're going to mark this up and just look at it, okay? And just kind of sat there before finally popping off again. Now we're going to follow along that line and go all the way down. And where are we? Well, that whole zone is right there. Now, did we actually go lower in this case? Yes, we did. We wicked below. This guy never quite touched right there, but he came pretty close. Same thing. Now this actually did in fact touch it per the wick. Now I want to show you this. What if Bitcoin is actually around here and we do in fact get a beautiful run up in the coming months? Cough, cough, alt season. Because last time I checked, we can see Bitcoin dominance on the right-hand side is at about almost 42%. Across the board, if you've studied the multi-year Bitcoin cycles, we're waiting for Bitcoin dominance to officially crash to send our alts to the heavens. And yes, that's where I conservatively believe many alts do in fact get a 3, 5, or even 10x from current prices. And that's where the money is going to be made. For those people that persevere and have a strategy. How do I stay sane during this volatile market? I'm never all in crypto. I always have cash to try to improve my position, to turn a bad moment into a positive moment and be a lot more profitable longer term. So we look at this level. We're sitting right on that today. So we'll see if we get another sweep at the lows, but I just wanted to show you that everything's intact and Bitcoin has yet to even reach the top of this curve. Now, could the cycle be different? Do we have to go to the top of the logarithmic growth curve? No, not necessarily. We're using historical data to do our best to gauge where this market could go. Either way, historically, I think we still have another leg up in the market. Looks like there's just a bunch of end of year sell-off. They're going to be paying their taxes. And we will simply see if we do in fact explode or the bear market begins. This would be the first time in history that it does not actually follow this logarithmic growth curve. And just a gentle reminder, we got the top there, we had the top there, we had the top here. And remember, in the middle of this bull run in 2013, wick to wick, there was a 75% crash in Bitcoin and the crypto market. And I know this was early days, but these 70% crashes happened in the middle of a bull market before continuing on to push up another almost 1800%. Also guys, just a quick look. I know a lot of people have shown this. So from the low of the impulse for Bitcoin, this whole bullish cycle, the first one lasted, 200, 300 days. The next cycle from the Bitcoin halving, the first ever halving, lasted 300 to 400 days, so a tad longer than the next one from, of course, July 2016 to the top of the market, 500 plus days. Well, from the most recent Bitcoin halving that we had in May 2020, how far out are we? Well, another 500 plus days. Is it safe to assume, since we have 10 years of history, and each Bitcoin cycle has lasted longer than the previous one, that this bullish cycle could go well into 2022? I'd assume so. The previous one, 500 plus days, what if we just drag it out a little bit further? 600 days, 700 days, 800 days, 900 days. No matter how you want to measure it, I think we still have yet to go into 2022. And again, we have yet to really top out. Now, am I calling 140K Bitcoin? Not necessarily. I just believe this market is here to stay. And whether or not Bitcoin does in fact begin an early bear market or follows and goes to over 6 figures, I am bullish on my alts that are well below retracements. Why for me will be in the altcoin market. Now, yes, not all will survive in the years ahead. And that's why I'm doing my best to be staggered across the board with utility-based assets. We're all speculators in this market for now, and there's still plenty of opportunity. No matter how many times you're hit right in the chin, keep getting back up. Because with 300 million crypto users today, about 4% of the global population, the statistics already show this is the internet of everything, the bedrock of everything. And from 300 million users, there's going to be 1 billion plus users, and then maybe 2 to 3 billion users across the board over the next decade. That is exponential growth. You are never going to find a better opportunity in any other asset class. The volatility, the high risk that scares most people, is where the opportunity is. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time.